The exhibit 4, which I showed earlier, you sent that to the Kirks and um, said that that was an order that they needed to follow. Isn't that correct?
I sent that to Sandra from my phone. She was the only one that had received that, and I'm not quite sure what is mean by a forged document.
Did you make the document?
I did or make the original document off of a document that was made for my older children because I did not have finances to file a court case.
So you've just admitted that you made a document with a judge's signature that the judge didn't sign.
No, ma'am. I made the SAPSER on my own, and if the document that was sent to Stephen had something from the other children's document, that would have been that. I did not use that same document with any police officers. I don't understand a court order. It wasn't. It was a SAPSER.
A SAPSER can be a court order. I'm trying to understand how a petition got a judge's signature on it that was sent
Probably the wrong document was, I'm sorry.
Oh, it wasn't a wrong document. It's a cut and paste document at best.
This judge isn't holding back, and it's clear she's staying sharp in calling out the woman for her actions and the many inconsistencies in her story.
And in your affidavit, you allege that CPS removed the children from your home due to abuse allegations by your deceased husband. But if you review the CPS records, that's actually not correct. Isn't that true?
There's a very long story that surrounds CPS. If we want to get into that, we can, but to me, it seems like 6 years ago.
Just answer the questions again. Just please.
Okay, it was not due to allegations. It started because of abuse from my husband that was deceased to my two older children.
The reason that the children, the reason that all three children were removed from your care had nothing to do with any physical abuse allegations by your ex-husband. Isn't that correct?
That's incorrect. So the reason they were removed, is that what you said? Can you state that again?
From the CPS case that occurred in 2017, all three children were removed from your care, and you allege that that was because of physical abuse allegations by your deceased husband. That's not actually true.
I'm sorry. No, ma'am. The CPS case began because of that. They were removed because I was dealing with severe depression after going through that while being in doctorate school and just having a child.
In that CPS case, you ended up losing conservatorship of your two older children for a period of time. Isn't that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you allege that Mr. Kirk refused to drug test in that CPS case, but a review of those CPS records will reveal that he actually did drug test when CPS asked him to. Isn't that correct?
Yes, ma'am. He did drug tests, but which after he left to Houston, and CPS consistently tried to
objection non-responsive.
Sustained. Okay. This is okay. You listen to the question, but I'm gonna wait. We've already said CPS 6 years ago. That's not going to determine this jurisdictional issue. So we stop it. We don't need to go there. And that, Ms. Blankenship, I'm going to say the same thing to you if you get back there. I mean, I want to know, this is about when the lawsuits were filed in the kids' home state. This is not about the merits. The merits will be taken up by whichever court has jurisdiction.
Understood, Your Honor.
Miss, you state in your affidavit that he absconded and kidnapped Lila in August of 2023, but that isn't correct, right? He left with the child in June of 2023.
Late June to early July. Yes, that date is incorrect.
The exhibit 4, which I showed earlier, you sent that to the Kirks and said that that was an order that they needed to follow. Isn't that correct?
I sent that to Sandra from my phone. She was the only one that had received that, and I'm not quite sure what is mean by a forged document.
Did you make the document?
I did or make the original document off of a document that was made for my older children because I did not have finances to file a court case.
So you've just admitted that you made a document with a judge's signature that the judge didn't sign.
No, ma'am. I made the SAPSER on my own, and if the document that was sent to Stephen had something from the other children's document, that would have been that. I did not use that same document with any police officers. I don't understand a court order. It wasn't, it was a SAPSER.
A SAPSER can be a court order. I'm trying to understand how a petition got a judge's signature on it that was sent from.
Probably the
Here.
wrong document was, I'm sorry.
Oh, it wasn't a wrong document. It's a cut and paste document at best. It
was sent to his phone from my phone, and I did not make that into a forged document.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 4. Are you suggesting that this document was a document that was actually used in your other two children's case?
So I used the template from another document that was used in my other children's case.
And what was the purpose of creating this template?
To file with the court.
So, but you sent it to the Kirks and along with messages saying that there's this court order and you're going to enforce it and they're going to get kidnapping charges. Isn't that correct?
This is the document that was sent to them, correct? He was aware there was a SAPSER filed.
Can you explain how that SAPSER document got a judge's signature on it?
I can't explain that, Your Honor, but as I look at it, it seems as though the document that I was creating had copy and pasted to that document, and I sent the wrong one to Sandra. It's the same SAPSER that was filed in the state of Texas.
Okay, well,
I do understand how that works.
I'm going to stop you because I think there is a crime for creating government documents or messing with, but I'll leave it at that. And so
I understand.
I will just caution you that I think there could be some potential criminal liability about that.
I understand.
She sent her ex-husband a fake document she forged complete with a judge's signature threatening him with kidnapping charges if he didn't comply with her demands. When confronted, her excuse was that she accidentally sent a forged document, one that just so happened to threaten him with serious charges. It's hard to imagine who she thought would buy that explanation, but one thing's for sure. The judge wasn't fooled and was clearly not pleased with her attempt at forgery.
I had bought her an iPad to keep her location. He began shutting off that iPad. I started to see their living conditions, and then I started to get calls from family whenever his phone was off. So I sent a private investigator out to locate him. And then I located him and saw that he had some very extreme drug use going on, and Lila was being completely neglected.
Okay, neglected. So you hired the PI. How did you get Lila back at that point?
So at that point, I went out to visit. Steve was extremely erratic. I'm not quite sure what he was using, but I was able to talk with him and kind of get an agreement that Lila would come back with me while he would get better.
But Ms. Flockley, you tried to bring the child back. When you allowed Stephen to take her, there, as has been said, there's no court orders in place. So why was it that you, even with him have done something similar before, why was it that you allowed this summer visit to New York with him?
He had worked for the last year and a half to try to get that time with her. And I was also under the false pretense, realizing that he was not on the birth certificate, that he would not be able to just pick a child up that he had no right to and take off with her.
And have you made any preparations for Lila in your home for her hopeful return?
And that's subject to relevance.
Sustained. What does that go to jurisdiction? I'm not trying the merits of this case today.
Has the child ever lived, besides the summer visits, weekends with Mr. Kirk, she ever known any other state as home where she goes after school?
Absolutely not.
Except for the last school year. Right?
When we were unable to retrieve her.
That's a yes or no. The child's been in school in New York for the 23-24 school year. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So other than that school year, you can ask the question, but all right. Go ahead.
When the school year started in 2023, Mary, after you hired us, we filed a ex parte temporary restraining order, correct?
Correct.
And then we had an order extending that TRO just 2 weeks later.
Correct.
And we had two orders for a writ of attachment signed by Judge Iserloh, and I believe it was Judge Iserloh.
Correct.
Okay, so you tried to do something during the school year of 2023.
I did.
Okay.
You indicated that CPS or that Lila was only out of your care for 6 months due to CPS, but the records show that it was at least a year. Is that correct?
It was around 8 months.
It started in January of 2017, and we have records that show that in January and February of 2018, Lila was still in Mr. Kirk's custody. Do you disagree with those records?
I do, because Lila was never permanently removed for me. He removed her to Houston, and whenever he decided, he just brought her back because she was no longer part of the case.
If you reviewed the records, you would see that Lila was in daycare that entire time in Houston. Do you disagree with that?
She moved back and forth. I do disagree with the full time her being there, correct.
And you indicated that Mr. Kirk took Lila to New York in May of 2021, but in actuality, she had been living in New York since at least 2020. Isn't that correct?
Lila had a stint in New York for about 6 to 8 months. That's the only other time she's been there.
So we have records that we've introduced that show that Lila was in preschool from September of 2020 all the way through September of 2021, and that she was also enrolled in the school district from in the fall of 2021 all the way until she was unenrolled by you in 2022. Do you disagree with that?
I need to double check on the preschool records, but I don't 100% disagree. I don't believe she was there for a full year. This was during COVID.
And you stated that during this period of time, you were unable to locate her in this 2021-2020 period. And you ultimately found Mr. Kirk in Oswego, but you knew that that is where his mother and his family lived, and that that's where he had previously resided. Isn't that correct?
Correct. He shut off all communication. His family was there, but I had no idea where Steve lived after the first 6 months where Lila and I talked daily.
So from 2020 to 2022, you're stating you had no idea where he was and you weren't able to go get her even if you wanted to. Is that correct?
No, not from 2020 to 2022. After 6 to 7 months of him being there, that's whenever he cut communication as he was struggling with his own addiction issues.
So 6 to 7 months after he would have been there, see if they were there, and we have shot records and daycare records that show she was there in September of 2020. 6 months would have put you in March of 2021, but you didn't go up to go get Lila until May of 2022. Isn't that correct?
I had visited her once in November for the holidays. And then after all of that communication cut off, yes, I came back after I located where he was living and came to pick her up.
But for the period of 2022 until you say that he cut you off, you were fine with Lila living with him. Is that correct?
I was, because we communicated daily and it was in the middle of COVID and travel was not conducive at that time.
But you were able to go up and visit her?
In November when things settled down, yes.
You indicated that you were blocked from both Stephen and Ms. Kirk's phones, but it's accurate that you were only blocked from Ms. Kirk's phone. Isn't that correct?
Yes, Ms. Kirk refused to give me Stephen's phone number until she blocked me, so all communication had to go through her.
She keeps twisting the truth and making up stories, but the records quickly expose the inconsistencies in her timeline and claims. It's definitely not a good look to be repeatedly called out, especially when solid evidence is right there to prove what really happened.
And have you had the opportunity to speak with the attorney that's been appointed for Lila in the New York case?
I requested from Steve and Sandra their information, and I tried to also talk to the court to get her information. I was told that I cannot obtain her information, and Stephen told me that I should not be speaking to her.
But the question is, have you spoken to?
No, ma'am.
Okay, not all that other stuff, just have you spoken to her? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Anything further, Ms. Blankenship, any other evidence? Okay, so I think at this point, what I need to do is try to reach out to the judge. Ms. Leek, where did you send that information?
I'll send it to Ms. Chambers, and I can send it to someone else if you prefer.
I sent Ms. Chambers a message. Go ahead and send it to, and did you CC Ms. Blankenship on that?
Yes, she did.
And Mr. Lilly.
Judge, you might want to have her send it to me. I think Victoria stepped out.
Well, I just sent it to the, yeah, that's right. I forgot Ms. Chambers is gone for the afternoon because so send it to my submission email address, please.
Okay.
It's 419.submission singular at traviscountytx.gov. What's the judge's name, Ms. Leek?
It's Rosario. Judge Rosario, and
All right. Well, I'll reach out as soon as I get. You send me an email with at least
I'm
pleading, so I have to pull it out of the box, and I'll try to call the judge this afternoon and see how quickly I can get hold of her.
And Your Honor, you wanted us to go ahead and send a proposed order.
If you guys both want to send a proposed order, that'd be fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
If you liked this video, you're going to love the next one. I'll see you there.